We got a good one for y'all. I'm DJ Barbecue. Today we're doing a rack of lamb with a grilled hisy cabbage, whiskey butter with some smoked garlic in there. Then we're gonna finish that bad boy off with a bit of pomegranate molasses, and we're gonna cold roast a bunch of veggies and make a dirty rice, so cold roasted rice, all paired with an Ardbeg Whisky Mac. What's a Whisky Mac? Well, back in the 19th century, British soldiers over in India were kind of trying to stave off any kind of yucky stuff, so a lot of ginger, so they would just make ginger wine and whiskey in a bottle, and that's a Whisky Mac. This is a big one, so get ready. All right, so let's get the hisy cabbage rocking. I'm gonna quarter it. Smoked garlic in that. It's my favorite sound in the world. And then with that lovely butter and then that whiskey, you've got a bit of kind of pepper, bacon, peaty goodness going on. The whiskey's definitely coming through. It's nice. Smells of the forest. We're gonna make a cold roasted rice. So it's just one of my favorite recipes to look after, you know, my vegetarian needs and my vegetarian friends' needs. So I just cook in the coals onions and peppers and courgettes. I got a courgette here, so that's gonna go in. Whatever you want, man, whatever you got in the fridge, just build a little coal bed and chuck them in there. I'll spin them here and there, and yeah, chop them up and throw them in with some rice. I already made like a long grain rice earlier, so I'll just kind of throw all that together with some smoked garlic, a bit of olive oil, some seasoning. Boom. The great thing about cooking onions in the coals, they come up with their own wrapper, so you can actually cook them for a while. The bigger they are, of course, the longer you got to go. But just peel off those outer layers, and then it's just this kind of sweet, savory, oniony goodness. I love cold roasted onions. There we go, all cold roasted veggies. We'll let them cool off because I don't want to be chopping into like hot veggies. They retain heat, and I do enjoy my fingers. Oh my gosh. Here's some rice I made earlier. So my missus taught me a really easy technique. Big cup of rice, 2 cups of water. 10 minutes, you know, cooking, 10 minutes chilling. Does its thing. Perfect rice every time. Best rice ever. Salt it. A rack of lamb, I want to get the fats to render so they flavor that meat and they're nice and crispy, but I don't want to burn the crap out of it because the lamb fat renders and it just pours down on the coals, and then they just start flaring up and they can get kind of out of hand. So you just gotta kind of move them around. I think this is my favorite piece of meat right here in the world, like lamb breast and lamb rack of lamb or lamb chop. I was cattle herding in the south of Brazil with Giles Corrin, the food critic. Back in 2015, I think I went there. Some of the best lamb I've ever had was in the Gaucho barn right before we went cattle herding, and they had lamb ribs just sitting on a sword in front of an open hearth, and those pools of lamb fat all on the floor. Once all the meat had been cooked and the fat had gone crispy. Oh. So I've got a good dynamic heat right here. Not super intense, but I've got a hot heat, and it's just right on this side of the grill. There's no charcoal over there in case I get any crazy flare-ups or just want to move it around, because I want to gently bring it up to temp. I want that meat, blushing. I want it medium, but I also want to make sure I render this fat. And I want to cook underneath here as well to make sure it's not just raw. I want to make sure those fats have rendered and it's just beautiful. So I've got my probe. People always ask me, how long do I cook this? How long do I cook that? I'm like, when it comes to like grilling and roasting, I cook to temp, not to time. When it comes to slow cooking, I cook to touch. So this thing is yeah, still 20 degrees inside, so we got a while to go. Those fats are doing their thing. So it cooks. I'm treating this now as an outdoor grill, outdoor oven. Kind of holding that heat in there so I can make sure the whole thing cooks. You know, I don't want rare lamb chop. I want a medium lamb chop. I want it blushing. I want it pink. But I want that fat to be crispy and rendered and juicy and awesome. Ardbeg Whisky Mac. We got a bottle of Ardbeg, we got some Krabby's green ginger wine, and we got ice. That's all you need. It's so simple and delicious. Ginger wine. There you have it. An Ardbeg Whisky Mac. Whew. It's like refreshing and delicious. And gingery, a little bit of spice. It's one of my favorite cocktails in the history of cocktails. Green ginger wine, Ardbeg whiskey. You're good to go. On some ice. Boom. Oh, oh, so good. I'm cooking this rack of lamb, late 40s, early 50s. Then I'm gonna let it rest to like medium rare to medium. Dancing fat. You like that? Okay. I think it's time to take her off. We got a good crust. So we're gonna let that rest. It'll still keep cooking, and then we'll get everything else ready. But I want that juice to go back into the muscle. Oh my gosh, you smell amazing. Pomegranate molasses. It's got a sweetness, it's got a tang, there's a sour. It's a great glaze. You can make barbecue sauces with it. It's just wonderful. I love pomegranates, and I love it in molasses. Oh my gosh, they're perfect. Rack of lamb, grilled hisy cabbage with a smoked garlic, whiskey butter, pomegranate molasses, cold roasted veg, rice, and then an Ardbeg Whisky Mac. I'm going in. Oh my gosh. That's the best thing ever. Want some blue? I love hisy cabbage. Oh man. This is one of the best meals I've ever done. All complimented with the Whisky Mac.